you're speaking as we get more speakers to come through. So starting with the one I know the most, we used to call him Captain B. So he was the head boy at St. Albert. So I'll give a personal, what do you call it? A personal introduction, the way I knew him. So I'm not too surprised to see him to seeing him leading in some of these ICT big projects going on, farming and changing the world that we are living in and the country that we are living in. That has been his sole purpose from the beginning, as I would like to say it, because I've seen him lead, and he really led by example. That's how Kumbiraichi Kupete, who, as I've said, he has always been my leader, and I still respect him as such. So most of his work, if you are to look at his rich CV, is in developmental ICT. So this is the perfect guy for computers. And I also remember I did mathematics, physics, and computer science in high school, which everything is just the dots are connecting. Someone who's determined, who knows what they are out there for, and they've been following their passion. So he's the co-founder of Umoja Lens, something that I think this is something that is much needed in Africa, trying to put technology in some of the most foundational and primary industries that we have. Of major interest to me was agriculture, trying to deal with the weather situations and everything, juggling all those factors in agriculture can be daunting, especially when you don't have the technology that is required. And here we have some of the greatest minds bringing forth technology to agriculture. That's Mr. Kumbiraichi Kupete for you guys. I wish I could say a round of applause for the head boy. And unfortunately, it's Zoom for you, but I'm sure there's a way of passing an emoji and you can say, we are happy to meet you. We have an aeronautical engineer here by profession. I think he's from India. So we have a representative from Asia. In Shona to Atatitatsikwane province, we have all these people in one place that speak to us. He's the co-founder of EcomJet. So these are the guys you need in the transport industry, in logistics, who are experienced in engineering and designing a lot of stuff. So from what I can see is we have a lot of guys. So far, we have 66.6% of our speakers in the tech industry. I believe there's going to be a lot of brainworks and a lot of fire revolution going to happen during this conference. We also have Mr. Michael Leo. Is one of, according to what I can see from the description. Unfortunately, I never got to meet Mr. Michael Leo, but I'm 100% sure that he's a great guy. He's one in a million leaders in the African Fellow. I think this is an organization that he has been serving with, and he's also the country ambassador for Peace First organization. Peace First organization, I remember we did some work with Peace First organization. By the way, this I'm sorry to cut you off, but this conference is being put forward by LA Initiative, Peace First Organization, and Youth Vision Overload as well. So we have worked with Peace First organization in the past month around Peace Day or something like that. So we are happy to have you, Mr. Michael Leo. And for the rest of the guys, I won't be able to introduce you one by one, but we are very happy to have you. So for starters, we will start with Mr. Kumbiraichi Kumpete, so that he can give his own, mini description of what he does and what he's going to deliver to
us. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for that elaborate introduction. I really appreciate it, Mr. Schoolboy. I'm so happy to be meeting you on these platforms as well. When you were saying, let me start with the one that I know best, I was wondering, okay, who is it? I hadn't really paid attention that we went to the same school, and
yeah,
so I mean that's a plus for me.
Yeah,
I'm really happy to be here, and it gives me so much pride and honor being with like-minded young people like myself who are equally into developments or issues that affect us every day, and who are also just trying to learn from other young people. I believe the learning journey is always bi-directional. I'm here as a speaker today, but I trust I'm going to learn lots and lots of things from you guys, from your questions, from our interactions, and from our dialogue. I don't believe in just speaking and speaking and speaking. I believe in having conversations, and I believe that even throughout our discussion, it will be more of a conversation, not us just speaking to you guys. So I should thank you very much for inviting me. So just a bit about myself. My name is Kumbirai, as I have been introduced already. I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer at Umoja Lens. Umoja Lens is an agri-fintech startup that is much more into capacitating rural and small-scale agriculture, including the smallholder farmers who work at it every day to contribute to the global food basket. So we have three flagship products or three platforms that we mainly have that are impacting the lives of smallholder farmers. Firstly, it's an e-financial service. So part of the problem is that 80% of our arable farmland is underutilized here in Zimbabwe. And this is because about, over 500,000 rural smallholder farmers who support over 9 million households have no access to formal financial institutions, owing to their lack of recognizable collateral, as well as the limited information on their profiles, which presents them as high risk. So because of that, lenders are very much unwilling to deal with smallholder farmers. One, because of the reasons that I've said. Two, also because of how agriculture is generally. Unlike any other portfolio, agriculture is nature-based, so its outcome is very much unpredictable, and it becomes very risky to deal with such people. So what we try to do is we just try to make a case to the financier that, look, a decision not to pay back a loan is an instant decision. So what matters more is character and is ambition. So we have tools that we use to measure personality test, which is your aptitude, to measure credit worthiness, as well as to grade the farm to see how viable it is for the intended project. We also have a platform that we call Agronomy Box, which is an in-season companion for every farmer. So what we do with Agronomy Box is it's a satellite-based system which can generate insights on crop, soil, and climate, information that can be used as, by agronomists and extension service officers to offer advice to farmers, customized advice to farmers. So that's the other platform that we have. And lastly, we have a blockchain platform that simply, helps farmers have a safer offtake of their produce. So it's more of a commodity exchange. We also trade in livestock. That's your goats, your pig, and your cattle. In other countries, they have what they call cattle banks or moo banks. Basically, even from way back, especially in Africa, cattle has always been a symbol of wealth and power and honor. So we try to unleash the value of cattle through what I call the stock exchange of agriculture. So we're just running a stock exchange on land and on livestock as well as commodities. So in short, this is about me. This is what we do. I trust maybe I'm not yet supposed to talk about the journey itself, but maybe just to introduce myself. I think this is what I would say. I went to St. Albert's High School, finishing off at UZ. Actually, I finished at UZ this year. And yeah, looking forward to life like that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was a beautiful, beautiful introduction. I didn't know this is written on point. I appreciate the numbers. The way you actually told us how much these small scale farmers support the entire economy of Zimbabwe. Yet they're some of the most overlooked workers out there. And you guys are coming out and you are giving 100%, giving them the support that they deserve. I'll give it to Mr. Leo Michael so that he can just give us a quick rundown of the introduction, what he does, and what they've been up to in his brief, his background as well, if he may. Mr. Leo Michaels, it's your turn right now. I'll ask him to unmute as well.
Okay. Oh, thank you. First of all, I'm very happy to join you Okay, and my name is Michael Leo from Tanzania. I'm the youth activist and influencer, and I'm working as a country ambassador of the Peace First organization, where I'm supporting grassroots leaders to design and implement projects which got support from the organization. And also, I'm the MCW fellow in the year 2022. And also, I'm the 1 Million Leaders Africa fellow. And I'm also working on the individual projects. For instance, currently I'm working on the project titled Break the Silence on GBV, which got support from the Global Youth Mobilization under the Local Solution Funding Program. And the main objective of the project is to raise awareness on the issue of gender-based violence and supporting adolescent girls and boys on how they can take actions to solve the issue of gender-based violence in the communities. And also, an award winner of the Outstanding Youth in Peace and Security, where I was awarded the prize in 27th of August this year in Dar es Salaam. And the award was organized by the Tanzania Emerging Youth Awards under the Minister of Youth. And yeah, also I'm also working as a community volunteer under the National Youth Engagement Network, which is under the VSO International Organization, where we are working supporting various community projects, basically in climate actions, disability and inclusion, and some other projects in sexual reproductive health and rights. I'm happy to join you guys. I hope to share and learn from you. That is, thank you.
Oh, amazing, amazing. This is beautiful. I you know, I think this is one of the things that really balances out the world that we live in, where we have people who are pushing for social justice and people who working towards eliminating the whole thing of GBV, gender-based violence, something that I see a lot of people kind of like belittling. So, Mr. Leo Michaels, we are very happy to have you, and it's great to have the eastern part of Africa as well here. Now, I'm going to start with Mr. Kumbirai. I want you to tell us the beginning of the company, the organization that you work with. How did the idea form, and how did you get to put it into work? And how does it feel? You can tell us, the hardships that you went through as you were starting the journey. And I'm sure most of us who are following your footsteps would appreciate knowing what it is like to get started with the startup. I think you need to unmute.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Thank you. No, it's all right. Thank you. I mean, so we started in 2019. I was working with 3 of my colleagues. We met because I was doing another project on Internet of Things. And where young people gather and share ideas, exchange notes. There's always that thing to say, you meet, and when you meet, you just find speaking with one voice and so on. So I met with this guy who was already running with this project. It was still in its ideation stage. So when I was presenting, after my presentation, he came to me and said, young man, you're doing well. He's apparently he's older than me. I'm the youngest of the group at the moment. He's saying, young man, you're doing so well. And, I'd love us to, escalate our conversations. This is what I'm doing. And I'd love it if you can come and work with us, bring some of your expertise and see how best we can do what we do. So before that, maybe it's only prudent to share with you part of my journey as an entrepreneur and as a young founder. I always try to dodge the temptation to call myself an entrepreneur. There's a difference between a founder or a startup founder and an entrepreneur. The startup founders are just a raw, aspiring business people. We are not really entrepreneurs. We are still trying to make it in the world, and we don't really know much to identify ourselves as entrepreneurs. So I'm a founder. So just after my high school results, way before results came, I got an opportunity to be working at one of the largest banks here in Zimbabwe, Metropolitan Bank of Zimbabwe, in the research and development department. So my idea was I wanted to be in IT because you can confirm that as back in school there, I used to be so passionate about these computing things. So getting into a bank, one of the things that I was saying I really want to do was to look at all those big systems, the systems that I've been learning theoretically from school. At least I now had an opportunity to actually have a feel of what a database is, what a data center is, what big systems, just appreciating that. So there's a young man who's just walking out of high school and is gotten a very big opportunity to actually be working and learning from industry experts. So getting there, I get to research and development, and like research wasn't really my thing. I really didn't want to be in research. I wanted to be in the IT department, but I just sat in there, started learning, milked the cow for what it was worth. And at the end of I think 6 months or so, I had to move on to corporate banking. I was assisting the corporate executive there, and I made a lot of grave mistakes while in that department because when everybody else was looking at me, they were looking at me and saying, okay, fine, he's on attachment. Attachment being he's in his third year university when I was only coming out of high school. So you can imagine people entrusting you with very big tasks only later on to learn with no, this is just I was 19-year-old, high school graduate who's just here to learn and to appreciate how the corporate world works. So one thing I want to say about that experience was it equipped me for a greater purpose. I really didn't think I'd end up in entrepreneurship. My vision way back in high school was do what you're doing, pass, go to varsity, get a good job, build a career, climb the ladder, get to the helm. At the end of it all, what I would tell myself was, I want to be a managing director, whether I'm managing director, of Combi Towels or whatever. I wanted to be a managing director. So from there, I'm in corporate banking, a place that I also never imagined being in. And my boss quickly picks up, okay, this guy is not really interested in what he's doing. So he says to me, young man, I know you wanted to be in IT. You wanted to be in IT, and unfortunately, you have been placed here. Not my problem, HR. But one thing I want you to learn is the systems that you're going to develop when you're further with your career, or if you're going to choose that path, come from this office. So what he was trying to say was that the best innovators, the best business people, the best software developers are those that have had a personal nexus with the problem. So, for example, I get into a bank and I realize there are lots of queues and just doing this manual work. Quickly, instinctively, you start thinking of ways to better a process. So that's where he was driving the conversation to. So afterwards, I sat in there, I tried to learn. I did learn. It was that type of learning where you don't want to be in a place and you're just learning because at the end of the month there's a salary, but you really didn't want to be there. But when I look back to now that's where I realized, but look, life just works in amazing ways. Things have a way of falling into place. Uh, the journey is pre-curated for you before you actually walk it. So I get there, and one of the principles that sparked my innovation spirit was that he said to me as well, Kumbirai, I want you to learn one thing, because remember, Kumbirai is not interested in banking. Kumbirai is just doing his job so that the month ends and he gets a salary. So Kumbirai, there's one thing that I want you to know. Kumbirai, we are serving clients, but we are a bank. But remember, the clients that we are serving and the nature of the job, or of the services that we offer, we give out money, right? We bank, we are bankers. So basically, someone is going to come to you. They won't tell you directly that, outside there's a dire situation, like they have to pay for hospital bills for somebody who's at the, verge of death, or there's somebody there whose company is about to declare bankruptcy, who really needs a banknote to save his company. There are quite a lot of situations that people are going through that if you don't help them to the last mile, you destroy lives. So at the end of the day, what he was trying to say was, look, we are a bank, but we are also like a hospital. We save lives here. So however you're going to conduct yourself in absolute integrity, conduct yourself in the best professional manner possible. And you can only rest when you know that you have served the client to the last mile. And in that case, in a banking situation, we know that money has reached an account once we have the proof of payment. So in every process that we went through during my time at the bank, it was going to always end with me showing my boss the POP. So what I learned from that was follow things through to the last mile. Don't solve problems partially, or don't solve problems in bits and pieces. So that was takeaway number two. Remember, also, I'm in a place that I really don't like. But these are the nuggets that when I reflect on them now, I say, oh, yeah, I don't know if I was going to learn that, right? So I leave the bank, I go to varsity. They would always call me back during my vacations. Another lesson there to always work with people well. My boss was a very difficult person. Most of the people that were in that department, when I got there and I was assigned to his office, they called me secretly and said, hey, whenever this man speaks, let it get through this ear and go out through the other ear, because he's going to say a lot of unreasonable, frustrating things to you. But don't listen to him. Just let it go, for your peace of mind. But mind you, that is the man that I grew very close to. That is the man who would then recommend me every vacation to say, hey, I need that young man back. There's a lot of work to be done here. Until finally I decided, look, I think I've managed to get what I wanted to get from the bank. Let me move on to other things. By then, the idea of innovation was already starting to resonate well with me, for the wrong reasons this time around. Why? Because I was really tired of taking instructions. So I was starting to say to myself, look, this is the last time that I'm going to work for anyone. So just remember that there are quite a lot of things that are going to motivate you to start. But at the end of the day, purify your intentions and make sure that you're doing things for the right reason. So I moved from the bank, I got to financial clearing bureau. That was my attachment here now. Already module lens is in progress. So I get to financial clearing bureau. Same thing that happened at the bank happens. I'm put into customer service. And by then I was actually in the University of Zimbabwe. I knew what I was doing. I was slowly growing the passion. So financial clearing bureau is one of the largest credit bureaus here in Zimbabwe. So I get to customer service. And unfortunately, this was a time where, the raging pandemic was doing its thing, cases rising every day, offices, going half workforce in and half workforce the other half out. And I was supposed to be at work every day because I was doubling as an IT personnel as well as a customer service officer. So in customer service, they had a WhatsApp that they were using. And, because of a then standstill economy, quite a lot of people were looking for credit to make ends meet because these people have yet not been going to work. But school was still going on, if you remember. School fees had to be paid, children had to eat. So the next best alternative was to get a loan from the bank. So that's when the bureau was very, very hard hit with a lot of pressure. So again, I don't understand why I was in customer service, but I then understood it later on. I'll show you how everything then connected to what I'm doing now and what I've built now. And it's one story that is very, in English they call it serendipity, where things just happen unexpectedly, in unexpected situations. So I get that I'm doing well in customer service, but I'm as well, as a young man, I have my own social traits. It's a weekend. Probably I'm gonna grab a drink with my friends, and the Monday I have to report to work. And sometimes you're a little hangover, and you need to be actually performing well. So I get there, and things are working well. Things are working well, and I'm doing well in customer service. Then the IT manager calls me and says, "Right, it's now time for you to come over here. The reason why we had put you in customer service was that you had to have a feel of the problems. You had to see what problems we have here so that you can suggest where we can improve. You can do, A, B, C, D. You personally, because now you're in touch with the problem. And one of the problems that I had was why were we still using the, social WhatsApp for a business like that was growing like that? So my first port of call was let's do a WhatsApp chatbot. We did a WhatsApp chatbot. The next thing was let's do a self-service platform. We did a self-service platform. The next thing was to just come up with a excuse me. The next thing was to come up with a good cost center. We implemented all these things during my attachment. And good thing because I was starting to get so confident with myself and what I was doing. You know, people would really ask me for solutions. Here's the problem. What can we do? Here's what can we do? And I just became that quick thinker because people were giving me the opportunity to learn. Now, I want to speak about my customer service experience and Umojulens. At Umojulens, we use alternate data to score rural farmers. And here I was in a credit bureau. Before that, I didn't know about credit bureaus. I didn't know about scoring. So I'm in a space where I'm now dealing with exactly what I'm doing at Umojulens, but centric to farmers, right? And this is one of the largest credit bureaus, meaning that their system should be so robust and so comprehensive to even be given a license to run such a national project by the RBZ, which is our central bank here in Zimbabwe. So now I'm there, I'm digesting my experience. I have seen the system, I've interacted with the system from a customer a service point of view. I've interacted with the system from a developers and an IT person kind of view. So I basically have this big picture, right, of what I want to make of Umoja, right? Now I gather up my team and say, guys, look, this is what we are going to do. There's this idea. What if we implement this? And the guys give me a go ahead. I go to my IT manager and say, boss, this is the type of project that I'm trying to work on. But if I'm to do it alone, I don't think it would really gain the traction and it would really sell the way I wanted to sell. So please come on board, help me bring my idea to, to life. Help me perfect this. My boss doesn't hesitate. He's my IT manager, and he says, no, it's fine. I can help you guys. It's cool. So we start now talking about it and talking about it is coming with a lot of amazing insights. And from there, from there as well, we start working together. So one of the problems that has to happen, one of the things that actually has to happen is when you're dealing with these people, because you're a small business and you really don't have money to pay for services, you tend to give away equity. So we offered him some equity and said, look, you do all the IT work. By then, I then realized, okay, fine, I'm an IT guy, but I think I have a deep-seated passion for business. So I started growing my entrepreneurial skills, talking to people, networking. I'd get everywhere I would just sell the idea to people. So that's the other thing that's very important to entrepreneurship: be a networker, talk to people. Don't be scared to say, my idea is going to be stolen. I don't believe ideas get stolen. Concepts do. Regardless of whatever happens, the way you're going to implement something, regardless of who steals it from you, they'll never implement it the same way you are going to implement it. We have Econet, we have MTN, we have Airtel, and all those other mobile money operators run by different people, and they are doing well in their own capacity. But others are doing well more than others, simply because it's one thing to have an idea, and it's another thing to have a strategy and a plan to make that idea come to life. So that's the difference between businesses. Don't be scared of competition. That's one thing that I would say. Don't be scared of competition, or don't be scared of getting into a heavily saturated market. Why? Because business intelligence says get into the market, claim your share, and sit in. Right? So I work there. I'm in financial clearing bureau. I finish off, I go. We are developing our version 2, which was to incorporate the credit scoring idea that I had seen from the financial clearing bureau. We were also doing, so one of the problems here in Zimbabwe that we have, for Zimbabweans here present, you can understand that the land issue is very sensitive. So the challenge that is there with banks and farmers is that after the land reform program about 22 years ago, most of us were just 2 years old, or we were just getting born, or we were slightly 3-4 years old. People were supposed to be given title deeds, but the government decided to retain ownership of the land and give people offer letters on 99-year leases. So what it means for the bank and the farmer is that if you go to the bank with a document like a offer letter, a lease document, you're not going to be given the loan, because in case you default, the bank cannot really have claim to that land, because it's wholly government land. So because of that, that's one other thing that discourages agricultural lending in Zimbabwe. So FCB is a way that they deal with companies. So if a company defaults, it comes back to bite the directors. In as much as we say a company is a legal entity that has the ability to represent itself, if a company defaults, it's going to bite the directors. So that's the same thing that we then went on to incorporate in our, trying to digitize farmland, or in our farmland stock exchange. We just said we are going to pull in investment. So I don't own land physically, but I can have interest in productive land. So I buy stocks of very productive lands. After buying stock in productive lands, maybe the 10 of us have bought into a very productive farm that has been doing well. So we assess, and after assessing, we can deem that this farm is productive, and we then invite people to buy stocks. So buying stocks is more of crowdfunding or investing for productivity. Once somebody invests, they're automatically tied to that offer letter. So if that offer letter, if anything regarding that offer letter defaults at a bank, it bites back to the to the investors within that certain productive farmland. So all these ideas started coming in from a place that I didn't want to be: customer service, financial clearing bureau, right? If I had just been to IT, maybe I was not going to understand how the business goes, from a customer perspective, and see the system that they use. So that's the other secret to it. Sometimes we just put in places where we don't want to be, but that's where we're actually going to get the most value from. So we move off from there, and now we have a full product that we are running proof of concept. Actually, we did proof of concept last season. So this season we've been monetizing the product. We are members of the Zimbabwe Association of Microfinance Institutions, as well as the Bankers Association of Zimbabwe. I personally sit on the RBZ, the Central Bank of Zimbabwe's thematic committee on agriculture finance, which gives me a very good proximity to policy research and policy drafting. So we can actually speak into policy crafting, financial inclusion wise, and I have a way of propelling how agriculture lending should go by virtue of being in this committee. So the other thing is we just became an award-winning fintech. When we entered the space, there were people who were doing it already, and it used to scare us. We would look at the progress that others were doing and would say, "Ish, guys, we don't stand a chance here." But we kept at it. We just believed in ourselves. We just decided to say, "Look, nothing is going to deter us. We are going to claim our share in the market." And right now, if I'm to tell you, we are sitting on many very lucrative contracts, very big contracts. We recently got onboarded with one of the parastatals, where we were supposed to help them monitor a portfolio of about 1.8 million households. These are government mandates. So that's how slowly but surely big we're growing. We were listed by a global, for those Visa is an international company. There's Akion, there's IFC, the International Finance Corporation. There's Jersey Overseas Aid. All those supports, and the Center for Financial Inclusion. These are a global institution that listed us as one of the upcoming fintechs that are very serious about financial inclusion. So that gave us a lot of visibility with investors, and we're constantly up and about trying to look for investors, trying to fundraise for the business, which has been quite a very fulfilling experience for me personally, because it looks business, building a business is like seeing a baby grow. Sometimes you look at them and they are being so naughty and they bring you so much sadness, but to the greater part of it, just knowing this is the fruit of this is my offspring, this is my child. You do everything you can to get the best version of your child in place. So, which is actually some of the, but there's always been, like what I'm saying, there have always been problems. You need to look for the right partners to work with. Sometimes because we are young people, we walk in rooms and people actually just laugh us off and say, what can come from these young people? But young people are actually doing things. So, yeah. I was talking about the Inclusive FinTech 50. We also went to Rwanda under a UNDP Rwanda initiative. We went there. We shone and came out first in Solve for Africa Challenge. EY, for those who know Ernest and Young, they run an enterprise impact program in Southern Africa. We also came first in EY. We are being incubated and we are backed by the German Development Corporation, Rural Farmers Hub in Nigeria, our partners as well, and quite a lot of other things and traction that has been happening, business-wise. But all of it, when I look at it to try and connect the dots, I don't think I would have made it well if one, I had just decided to say, okay, fine, I'm not running away from this job. I'm just going to sit in and do what I have to do, regardless of me not liking it. I decided to stay. So most of these boring situations are very much filled with value, and they are very much, those are the things that then help us get forward with life, with business, with anything that we want to do. So that's, in short, that's a very proud, humble little story of mine and of Modulands, which I've been so much delighted to share with you tonight. Thank you. Over to you.
Wow, that's a beautiful story. I wouldn't take it as a a small story, as you want to put it. This is a big story. We need to put it on Heralds or Quiets or something like that. Absolutely lovely, Mr. Kumbira. You have taken us from the humble days when you were a 19-year-old intern. I would visualize you being asked to make tea for some of the big bosses, and how annoying it can be, being pushed around, being taken from this department. It really sounds like it, like, when you're young and all that, and so many people were up the corporate ladder may take advantage of you, like pushing you from this department, the department that don't want, you get pushed there, you get taken from there, and there you are. One of the things that really caught my interest is this idea that you are putting forward. Like, it's not about how you feel and what you want. Sometimes you just have to be accountable for the opportunities that you have and take them head on and see it through. And you never know what you will take you. Because most of these days, we are in the TikTok era where someone tells you that if you don't like it, you better leave it. There's only one life. Well, that might sound true. There's a lot of irresponsibility in saying that, because these opportunities are actually scarce. Like, there are some people who are not getting these opportunities. And you managed to do something great there. However, there's an elephant in the room. If there are entrepreneurs who are listening there, there's a part that they would like, or most entrepreneurs, matter of fact, they want to know if you had any incubation programs that you went through, or how you managed to raise the much needed finances considering the situation in Zimbabwe and your age as well. You are 23, 24 tops. It's very hard for people to trust you with their resources, right? I know that's very true. So how did you manage to, obviously from listening to you, everyone can agree with me. You're a very convincing person, very good at speaking. So that might be one, but still there's other 9 ways that you need to provide for us to tell us that this is how I managed to get the funds to get started.
Right. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think one of them is I can sell. I mean, you know, from way back in school, I used to do this, talking thing quite a lot on a scale. But just to address those, so we were incubated. Definitely, that's a given. Every startup really needs to go through incubation. It's important because, like what I said in the beginning, to say I always try to dodge the temptation to call myself an entrepreneur. I don't believe I'm one, but slowly, yeah, maybe I'm still one step out of 30, maybe getting there. I'm a startup founder. So what that tells you about it is I'm somebody with a vision. I'm somebody who knows what I want to do. But basically, after delivering on my vision, I really don't know how to run with it in a normal business setting. So, for example, business planning: who pays you? Why do they pay you? When do they pay you? Those are the 3 fundamental questions that you should always ask yourself. Who pays me? At what point are they paying me? And why are they paying me? That's a summary of a business model, right? So at the end of the day, what I want to stress on incubation accelerators and these tech hubs, one thing they do for you is they give you that orientation to say, yes, you have this beautiful idea, it's good, it can be done, but how are you going to make money? How are you going to make sure that the business is sustainable? How are you going to make sure that in case of anything, there's business continuity? How are you going to hire? How are you going to account for every dollar? How are you going to disperse capital? Because the best business people, the best CEOs are not the people who, build big businesses. The people who know where to put their capital. So the business has made money. Where are you going to invest it? There's one simple analogy that I use, very thought provoking, especially in this day and time, in this day and age. So I have someone who wants to buy my business for $1 million. Kumbirai, this is $1 million, or maybe I'm worth 10%, and at that point we are valued at 10 million, and I'm worth $1 million. So the company is closing up. I get my dividends, $1 million USD worth. What am I going to do? One person can choose to say, you know what, I'm gonna buy a house in the Brook or in Glenlawn. Let's say the cheapest house that you get, the Brook, is 350,000 USD. You buy your house, then you decide, okay, fine, I'm going to properly furnish this house. Maybe that's gonna take you up to about 50,000. So you've used 400,000 on your house. You are basically short of 100,000 to get to half the money that you have in your wallet. So then comes Panache, and Panache says, hey, my uncle left me a mine and it's very rich in gold, but you don't know anything about mining. Panache knows a lot about mining. Then he says, give me 50,000, I'll give you back. Then we invest in this mining thing. It can actually get us to 10 million in a year. Then you get excited about the 10 million. Okay, fine, it's a good investment. Let me invest. Then you put it in the mine. Then next thing, Panache's mine collapses, right? You are now in 500,000 essentially. So half your money is gone, right? Then you decide, okay, fine, I need a car. You buy yourself a GLE maybe for 80,000. You say to yourself, okay, my wife also needs an equally good car. We haven't started talking about the housing insurance. Maybe it's a double story, so the insurance is going to be biting definitely. So at the end of the day, maybe you're in 800, you're in 700,000 thereabouts. Then you have 300,000 left. Maybe you decide to say, let me buy stocks. The company you buy stocks in, for example, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, and that gets liquidated from 30 billion USD in a week. You know the story for the trending story on FTX, the big crypto conglomerate. So they get liquidated in a week, right? What, 30 billion, and your shares just go like that. They declare bankruptcy, and the same story with BlockFi. They've also filed for bankruptcy. So you invest in such companies because crypto is big. Crypto is big and it's a very thriving industry. So you might not be wrong in investing in them, but things happen and you actually lose all your money. So you are now in 200,000, right? Then maybe some just maintaining your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm trying to say is within a year or two, the million is gone and you literally don't have anything. So the best CEOs know where to disperse capital. So those are some of the things that you're not told that you need to learn, avoiding the temptation of spending the money that you don't have, right? So you're spending these flashy life and all that, but you really don't have that money. You really haven't invested enough to start spending that much, right? So this is something that a tech person can only learn from a business incubation or a business acceleration. Now, I've talked about this. Why would they trust you? These accelerators, like what I said, I personally went through acceleration with the German Development Corporation, which is GIZ, Investment Readiness Program. I went through acceleration with Ernst & Young. I went through acceleration with Africa Blockchain Institute. I went through acceleration with the Pan-African ICT Association based in South Africa. Also a Savvy Fellow, quite a lot of these fellowships just to try and ground me and ground my ambitions, right? It was very easy for someone to come to me and say, look, you have a very good thing going, Pan. I'll buy you a house, I'll buy you a car, I'll give you 2 million on top of that. One thing that you should know in that case is that you are up to something good, because these people are willing to put a lot of money just to buy you out. So you are literally up to something good, right? It's difficult to resist such a temptation. But in business acceleration, at some point I posted on my status that startup founders are very funny. They're very comfortable, talking about billion-dollar valuations, million-dollar valuations, hundreds of thousands, but in their pockets, they might literally have nothing. What does that do for you? When someone like that comes to tell you about 100,000, okay, between ourselves, let me share this. Let me share this. We're trying to raise about 100,000 for pre-seed at the moment, and we have various commitments from investors like Finca Ventures, Akion Ventures, and all, quite 4 or 5 venture capital firms that are willing to invest in us. So we have completed due diligence with one of them. Then the ones came, okay, we went somewhere and we won about 3,000. And my colleague earlier in the year won about 4,000. And someone also wanted to give us 15,000. Actually, somebody gave us 15,000. So now, because we are so much comfortable in saying we are worth 100 million, so when you're pitching your business, you can actually say, I'm willing to give you, I'm raising 200,000 at a post-money valuation of 7 million. So if you're comfortable speaking about 7 million in just plain terms like that, what could go, at the back of your mind when you see a 3,000? It literally, it won't, freak you out, or, you don't panic with it. So that's one kind of character that then grows in you to say, when you see money, money is very valuable, but you're not quickly out of the blue to show people I am rich, I'm money like that, because you could actually get more money and more money and more money. So it just builds that character to say, look, I have 3,000 in my pocket. It's nothing compared to what I want. I have 20,000 in my pocket. It's nothing compared to what I want. So this is also one thing that it does for you. That is acceleration. Now, about the people believing in you part. What business acceleration also does for you is they already have investors that they deal with. So they are going there on your behalf and negotiating for a deal. You are involved in every part of the process, but you're not entirely alone. You just have these support structures. So I'm riding on the confidence that these investors have in the German Development Corporation, right? So I go anyway, I'm riding on the confidence that these investors have in the Ernst & Young as a very internationally recognized and reputable company. So these people are not investing in me, they're investing in the work that Ernst & Young GIZ has put into me as a person. So at the end of the day, this is how then it goes up, and it just goes on like that. But it's really interesting, like that. Yeah, I don't think as a startup founder you'd really make it without acceleration or incubation. They called it acceleration for a reason. It's just going to give you that leap jump from your basics to where you're actually supposed to be. So yeah, well, that's what I can say.
Oh, lovely. Maybe one of the things that most of our listeners would want to know now is about the opportunities around the accelerator programs. Definitely, they are not going to be the same, because you are in Zimbabwe and we have guys from Cameroon, Tanzania, India. So I don't know, maybe how, because in everything, in every circle that you have, there is definitely going to be people who are not successful, even given the opportunities to meet or to go through incubation, mentorship, and all this. How do you make sure that you work well with the opportunities that you have, you take advantage of the acceleration programs that are there? Obviously for you, it might have been easier because you really have a rich networking background where you actually managed to work with someone who was very difficult, one of the most difficult bosses out there. But at the end of the day, they still needed you during your vacations, which says so much about you as a person and, as an employee. But you can actually share something to the people who are there, how they can work well with the accelerator programs that are there, the incubation and all the possible networking events that are there out there. So back to you again, sir.
Yeah, I think one of the first things is that in as much as we are founders or co-founders or business leaders in our own right, one of the things that we need to acknowledge is we are still limited in knowledge and we really need to learn. So the first thing that I think really helps is to empty yourself of every pre-assumed knowledge. So you empty yourself and you allow people to take you through. Both as an employee and as a business founder who's going through acceleration, that's how you charm investors. That's how you charm people that are teaching you or helping you out. Because then investors also tend to ask, okay, fine, how is he as a person? I mean, how's his conduct? Is he an honest person? Is he very aggressive? Is he for those of you who watch Shark Tank or what do they call it? The American one. I mean the UK one is the there's Shark, there's
I know
right.
dragons, there's Dragons Den as well.
Yeah, Dragon Den. You're right. If you watch those two programs, you see those guys sometimes they're just unnecessarily mean to founders. You're pitching, you haven't done anything wrong, but they're just trying to crank you up.
Yeah.
Crank you up so that you just get frustrated and just bolt up. So that's one other trait that they really look for. Somebody who's patient, calm, and composed. So it all grows from working with a lot of people, understanding people, just telling yourself, okay, I'm here to learn, something like that. Then for opportunities, I follow quite a lot of pages on opportunities. There's opportunities for youth, opportunities for Africans. There is the venture capital for Africa.com, which is VC4A.com. It's also rich in opportunities. That's the one that I normally actually use it compared to. So we are in an age where the internet is very rich, very, very rich. And, information is everywhere. So information being everywhere is only gotten by those who really want to get information. So just play around with the internet. Use the internet for the right things. Serve opportunities. There's also ICT Works. There's USAID, which runs a lot of grants. There's the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And the list is endless. But at the end of the day, it's how you approach it, your attitude, your rapport, and just your demeanor. That is what exactly opens up doors for you. So I have one belief that I'm going to share with you as a nugget. You may get a first-class degree. You get a first-class degree and so you get sorry about that. So you get a first-class degree and you're doing what you're doing. You land a job in maybe Old Mutual or one of the big companies. At that point, your degree says it's to work. You can get so much entitled to telling people that I am a first-class degree holder in computer science or in actuarial science. But in actual fact, that won't get you promoted. Those people who get promoted are the people who are always out there, people who are social, people who network, people who are good with people who can manage the work politics and the work environment very well. So you realize I come to a place where, okay, fine, a very good example. When I was on my attachment, I was working with another guy from another university. Very reserved guy, very church going, very, he was a good guy. But one thing about him was he was very, very judgmental. He was very, he just had some character. And that was me, right? Whom people knew is loves his drinks, not heavily, but I mean, I'm like that. So we are in one place where we are both supposed to learn. So during lunch times, I'm the person who's out there talking to guide people, hi, so what do you do? So when did you start? And all that, and all that. You're just networking. Outside the fact that I know what I'm doing, I know my work. And it's so at the end of the day, you realize that people would rather deal with somebody who's really out there. Emotional quotient and social quotient are more important than the IQ, which is the intelligent quotient. So you get there and you're just showing people, okay, fine. You have said to me, no, it's fine, it's all right, no, it's okay. I mean, I understand it might be a bad day for you. So you're just handling people like that, and so that exactly is what gets you promoted. That's why most managers, directors, most CEOs, they have a marketing background, have a very strong marketing background. Why? Because they are always out there and they know how to speak to people. So that's one other thing that's very important. Networking and networking and networking. There's no need for you to be feared by everyone. There's no need, absolutely, in a world like this for you to be grumpy. There's no need for you not to say hi. There's no need for you to start a fight. There's no need for you to actually, just take, a bad day in a bad way. People do have bad days. I'm not saying tolerate nonsense, don't, but be emotionally intelligent. That's exactly what gets you promoted. Just being emotionally intelligent and being socially intelligent. Doing it in good proportions will open doors that you never thought would open for you.
Wow, that's amazing. I think if I would take something out from there, it's about your disposition, as you've said. Most of us sometimes overlook what it means to be humane, especially there's a part that you touched on, in honesty, and being able to be on the same level as everybody else in any situation, which is very important, because some people, I don't know, it's the swag, or it's just a form of pride that young people have sometimes, which makes them, one, not true to themselves and not true to the people around them, thereby just eliminating the entire virtue of honesty that is much needed in the entrepreneurial world. Mr. Chimkupete, before I move on to say Leo Michaels, I have a very important question right now. You have definitely showed us you're very social, and you know what you mean by work-life balance. But we would want to know as well how you manage to, balance the entire social life, your girlfriend, you know what I'm talking about, the school life, parents, and being a founder, all in one person. How have you managed to juggle all the 15, 17 balls, keep them flying and everything well balanced? Just being sane. It's actually something people overlook, but it's very important. Sometimes it's hard when you have all these balls jumping around. So let me hear from you how you've managed. I think this will be the last question as well.
All right. Well, I think I really can't say I've totally done a good job managing. There are times that I'm usually so much into what I'm doing that I hardly have time to talk to people. But not having time to talk to people as well, I need to be constantly online checking for important messages. So people might think that I'm ignoring them when I'm not, but I'm just busy. Then there are stressful days as well, where I'm at the verge of closing in or waiting for a very important response. Like, oh, one funny thing, I've been waiting for a response because there was a company that I'm trying to work with, not yet to take our proposal to their board. So it took about 2 weeks, and the CEO kept on saying, we postponed, I'll reach out next week. We postponed, we'll reach out then. So the day before yesterday, sometimes you just wake up at night and you're thinking about this. Oops, I really need this to come through. I really need this to come through. So that affects your mood. That affects how you're handling everyone else. One other thing that we really need to guard against is the impatience that just grows from doing all of this. Sometimes you're just at home, people around, and because you have a mind filled with a lot of things, and sometimes things are just not working the way you want. You tend to be very impatient with everyone. You tend to be so cranky and easily cranked up with things that don't even matter. So don't think I'm doing a good job. I'm not. I can't really say I'm managing well. I think for my age I am. For my age I am, otherwise I would have exploded way back. So it really gets bad to the extent of sometimes, because you've been thinking about this for a long time, you start dreaming about it now. Say, no, the call finally came, and I know your proposal was approved. So I dreamt about it 2 days back, and it got approved the following day. I was actually laughing about it. I don't know how that happened, but all I'm trying to say is we have worse, we have days that are really bad. But I have a routine. Monday to Friday afternoon, I'm actually so busy, so working and doing what I'm doing. I get home in time. I see others. I interact with others, and everything else. Friday night, I go out. Saturday, all of Saturday, I rest. Sunday, I go to church. Monday, I iterate the same routine. So for me, my social day that I've given myself out of the 7 is the Friday night. So that's when I can go out clubbing, meet up with my friends, maybe on Saturday rest or check the misses out, just do all those other things that are important to me, as a person, socially. Then Monday to Friday, I'm working. But it's also important to know that there are times where you really don't have anything to do. It's not really bad. I just close in time, close my laptops. Luckily, we have a home office, so that's where I am. And I usually work from there. So just taking the day off to say, look, I just want to sleep. Or look, I just want to rest. Look, I just want to watch TV. I want to watch a movie. I want to watch a series or whatever it is. So that's how then I tend to cope with it. One secret is the best coping mechanism is doing really what you like. So play hard, pray hard, work hard, but pray and pray and pray as well. Praying is, I really emphasize that because I think it's one of the things that I value most. And I really don't miss church. I don't miss church on a Sunday or any important event at church. I equally participate in church. I equally have leadership roles in our youth at church, and I always try to give it time because why? It's part of something that I feel it's greater than me. It's a cause that's greater than me, and it really gives me the rest and the peace that I want. So I sing in church. If you remember from our way back in school, I was in the choir and I was very passionate about it. Even when I was the church prefect, I was so passionate about the church events because they have a whole certain level of peace that they bring about a busy, noisy life. So it's not just church, but it's spirituality. If I call it church, it might be biased. So it's spirituality, just having a spirituality that you follow. I think it will also ground and groom you at the same time. There's a discussion that I once attended where they were saying profit versus piety, a false dichotomy, where they're just trying to explore that can we be profitable as business people and at the same time maintain our piety and integrity as as Christians. So this is one thing that I also, I took a lot from that discussion where people are actually saying, look, don't be in a rush, don't dodge a process.
Mhm.
Profit versus piety should just be profit and piety. They should never fight. It should just be profit and piety for the upright person. So do what you love most. That's how you cope. In my view, at least it has worked for me. So I have a routine. I do what I love most when I'm relaxing. At the same time, I put in the work. So that's basically how I cope. I saw a, a chat. I would like to know what is value of things or things that he cares most. yeah, I think I've also a bit touched on that. The things that I care about most, I like evident from my routine. I just prioritize my things, all of them like that. They are important to me, and I always try to make sure that I give equal attention where needed. So I think I've said a lot for the day, and thank you so much for having me. It has been more than a pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Kumbi. I'm really motivated right now. I might just go on a streak of starting up my business, a startup of some sort, because I'm really inspired. Well, what I would do for now, because we are kind of running out of time, we'll talk to Mr. Mr. Leo Michaels, and I want to believe his talk is going to be premised on education, scholarships, and social issues as well, because he has been at the frontier of such issues. So, Mr. Leo Michaels, I don't know if you are hearing me, but if you are hearing me, you may switch on your mic and start talking to us. How are you? And how is Tanzania?
Oh, Tanzania is cool. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm happy to have you here. We are all happy to have you here, as a matter of fact. So you have given us a briefing on the organizations you have worked with and part of the work that you continue to do even now, including being an influencer. And there are a lot of milestones that you have reached and a lot of boxes that you have ticked, as we can see. So now we are all ears to listen to your story.
Okay. For the sake of the time, I'll be very fast. Let me start by sharing how I started the community service. I remember when I was at the university, I was thinking of scoring a good GPA that would help me to stand out when it comes to job competition. But after completion, things didn't go as I planned. So I decided to change my direction from looking for teaching jobs and started searching for platforms where I can learn other skills and have impact in my community. So I started searching for opportunities from various sources on the internet, and also through social media platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook. I remember it was during the year 2020 when I started applying for some volunteering opportunities. And the journey, of course, was a bit difficult since I had no experience. I used to get so many rejection emails, but I didn't give up. I applied and applied as much as possible. So in February, I think, of in 2020, I got selected to be an ICS volunteer under the VSO International Organization, where I was placed in a rural community of Kagera region here in Tanzania, where I had to work with people from the United Kingdom and some volunteers from Tanzania to support education, where we were helping slow learners in primary schools with counting, writing, and reading skills. We also taught them basic computer skills. And also during that time, we also organized community events to raise awareness on the issues that are affecting the community. After that, I joined with the National Youth Engagement Network, which is a consortium of alumni from the 3 international organizations, which are VSO International, RAD International, and Let's Development. So we were able to participate in various community projects, and one of the projects that we did was to sensitize the community on how they can prevent themselves from the spread of COVID-19. Because when I joined the National Youth Engagement Network, it was the time when the COVID-19 erupted in Tanzania. So we conducted various outreach programs and door-to-door awareness raising. And of course, this gave me an opportunity to network with like-minded individuals from various parts of the country. And also I learned on skills like facilitation, community mobilization, and so on. So after there, I've been able also to participate in various fellowship programs. For instance, in 2021, I was an Survey Fellowship, Survey Fellow under the Survey Fellowship organization. This is an entrepreneurship fellowship. And also I've been a Young Leader Fellowship, Fellow under the MCW Global, which is Miracle Corners World. And also I'm the Awareness 360 Fellow in this year. So all these are helping me to network and connect with potential people from various parts of the world, and also gaining experience and all the things that I need as a community leader. And also have been an ambassador under different platforms. For instance, in 2020, I was selected to be the World Literacy Foundation Ambassador. And in 2021 also, I have been a Global Peace Chain Ambassador under the, I've been a Global Peace Chain Ambassador. And also in this year, I'm the Peace First Ambassador, where I'm working to support grassroots leaders in designing and implementing projects. All these opportunities have been positively impacting my leadership journey. And one of the things that I would advise everyone to keep a keen eye on it is through social medias, because most of the opportunities I've been engaging in comes from the pages and profiles that I've been following in the social medias like Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So it is a bit difficult to be looking for opportunities while you don't know exactly where you can access them. So what I can say is for other young people is it's better to make sure you follow the potential pages and profiles of various people who are posting daily opportunities and some other things that can help you to become an effective and active citizen in the community. So, and also I would like to share a bit of the on the general requirements for applying these fellowships and other opportunities. The first thing that I would like to advise each and everyone is to have a compelling narrative. That means what you want to write in your application, it should connect you with past experience with your future goals and explain how the program will bridge between the two. And also an applicant needs to be unique and creative when answering these essay questions in maybe fellowships and other opportunities. Also, in most of the opportunities will be asked on the leadership, your leadership experience. And the leadership that is meant here is not only basing on the maybe it's not about leading an organization. So when writing on this, you should focus on you, not on the organization. And also another thing is just consider word count and characters, because most of the questions are limited to a very they limit applicants to a certain number of words and characters. So you should not exceed the characters that have been stated. And also, I would like to say another thing on the issue of the use of social medias. You know, young people have so many things to do. So most of them are posting things that are irrelevant. What I would advise is everyone should have should be very keen in when posting in social medias, because most of the opportunities nowadays, they ask for the social media handles. So what they want is to see how do you portray yourself in social media. So if you are following the pages that are irrelevant with what you are doing, automatically you will not be able to stand out when it comes to fellowships and other programs application. And also, I would like to also share on the other means that can help someone to get access to these opportunities. And the first thing is to allow yourself to attend various webinars, conferences, and workshops where you can be able to connect with various people. And when it comes to searching for opportunities, it can be very easy to get them. Also, another thing is to make sure you connect with potential people in social medias. Not everyone who asks for connection, you have to accept him. No, you have to see if the person who is wants to connect is he or she real the person that you admire. If so, then you have to connect with. So, and also another thing that I would like to share is I would like to share is getting use of the internet. When you have time, try to look for opportunities from search engines. You have to search for opportunities that are available in your, maybe in your area or in your continent and elsewhere. So that is a bit of what I wanted to share with you guys today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I think I just have a few questions, one or two questions before we conclude. Unfortunately, we can't have Anush Chowdhury on the panel. He has been, there's been electricity challenges as well. I think these electricity challenges are becoming a pandemic. I know in Zimbabwe they have the same challenge. Now, I want to ask if you have any notable people that you met who helped you get to where you are. And if you could recommend some of us to some of these people or caliber of people.
Of course, I do connect with people from non-profit sectors, because most of the time I've been working in community services that are being offered by various organizations. So I do connect with people from working in various organizations, for instance, AU and the EU and other big organizations. So what I would advise is to make sure you follow the people who you are passionate, the people who are working on the issue you are passionate about, and not everyone.
Yeah, that's something solid there. Just the same as what Mr. Kumbirai Kupete has been saying about piety and profit. It's about the people who has a similar objective is the one that you have with your work, with whatever you want to achieve. Maybe the last question, and we conclude, which is also mark the end of this meeting. How are you managing to balance your work and life and socializing and everything? How are you managing to do that?
Okay, thank you for the question. I always develop a strict schedule and have this discipline to stick to the schedule. This trick helps me to balance my commitment, and also I do prioritize the key responsibilities that will help me to grow. So the thing that I'm focusing on is prioritization, and also developing a strict schedule that I'll have to put discipline in it. So that's as a things that I've been doing in order to balance my commitment.
Okay. Wow, that's lovely. Prioritizing, that's a big word. People, I think I do get that a lot. Like sometimes we forget what's important, what's the whole point of this life, and we start, running in and fighting towards these goals, everything that we want to achieve, the pressure in the world. And we forget some of the priorities that we have, like health and everything else. Now I'll give it back to you, say, Leo, to give us what you have to say, just your final words here for the meeting.
Okay, my final words, what I would say is, I would urge each and everyone to be very good in connecting and being selective in connecting with people. Because if you connect with wrong people, automatically you'll end up in a wrong journey. You end up in a wrong position. So you have to be very keen in selecting the people to connect with.
Wow, that's lovely. I hope some of you got what Mr. Leo Michael says.